Good evening and welcome to this evening's 41 Club Connects event. The feedback on these events has been really positive, so we're really pleased about that. And we have another fun evening lined up for you this evening, courtesy of Kevin Conolly. And without further delay, I'd like to hand you over to our National President, Peter Good, for a few words of welcome.
Thanks very much, Peter. Good evening, everyone. Great to see you all again. Difficult to believe that we've been doing this for just about a year now. AGM coming up on Saturday. It's been absolutely fantastic. This has the only way that I have been able to connect with members on a national basis, and it's been absolutely fabulous. Without two people, this couldn't have happened. Mark House, who's not with us tonight, and Peter's taking his place, and he seems to be coping quite well, actually. Mark might be out to a job soon. And also Marcus Jones for getting most of the speakers lined up for us, which have been absolutely fantastic. We've had a great lineup all through the year. But we have got an excellent Connects committee now, with some great guys on it. I won't name them all now, but fabulous committee, and we have some great fun organising these events at our committee meetings. Without further ado, anyway, I'll hand it over to Marcus now, who will invite.
I think you can hand over to Don, Peter,
for tonight. Thanks, Marcus.
I think you're handing over to Don.
Is Don coming on first?
Yeah.
Don, do you want to announce the next few meetings, Don?
There you go. Unfortunately, we can't replace you.
Like the hairdo, Don.
Thank you very much indeed. I'm going to the barbers finally next week. Just to remind everyone that it's the virtual AGM this Saturday. Then looking at the Connects events coming up, we've got a virtual tour of an RNLI lifeboat station on the Norfolk coast next week. That's followed the following week as we are approaching VE Day with a World War II veteran special, and it's going to be an interview with Norman Bartlett. I'll just mention a few other events we've got coming up in 41 Club. We've got the Car Rally coming up in July. We've got the Caravan Rally coming up in September. And of course, we've got the 41 Club Big Weekend coming up in October. You should have the details of all of those. If you haven't, keep your eyes peeled for the emails you'll be receiving shortly, and they'll have links to the various websites. And now, finally, the moment you've all been waiting for, I'm going to hand over to Marcus. Marcus.
Good evening. Thanks, Don. And the comedy act's already started with Mr. President getting it wrong. But there we are. We'll move on. I have the absolute pleasure tonight of introducing a real legend of the stage. And actually, I don't want to say too much, but he's a dead ringer for a few people. I can say that bit. We're going to, the way we're going to play this tonight is that we're going to get into a real conversation, and Kevin's going to do his bit. And he's going to tell us a little bit about his life. And what we do want is plenty of questions coming through the chat or via Facebook. The team are working very hard to get all your questions together. We will attempt to obviously answer every question, but obviously time permitting, if we do miss any, I'll apologize in advance, but we're always trying our best for you guys. So I think it's time to get the main man on stage virtually. Kevin Conolly. Are you there? Are you in the house, sir?
Hello. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. First of all, may I introduce myself as the former leader of the Conservative Party, the former Foreign Secretary. I've had a very varied career, and I'm delighted to be at this particular gathering of the 41 Club. It is a huge honor for me to be here tonight, and a good opportunity to chat to you, Marcus.
Wonderful. Well, on that note, and we'll try quite hard tonight to stay away from any issues of backhanders that politicians put up with. But what we'd like to do tonight, Kevin, start off with, let's find out where the story really starts and how you got involved with comedy and impressionists.
Yeah.
And your story. Where did it start from?
And getting onto the dead ringers, the radio and the TV. Yes. Well, I was brought up in Middlesbrough, and I lived around the corner from Middlesbrough Rugby and Cricket Club. And they shared the same ground. I had relations who you would go to the club, uncles and aunties and things. And I got involved just because they knew who I was. I used to mess around in the bar doing voices. Everybody knew it. And then the sportsman's dinners appeared. When I used to go there, at the rugby, Robbie Andrew used to play for Middlesbrough, and the Underwood brothers played. And Chris Old's brother, Chris Old played for Yorkshire. And of course, the Middlesbrough had, in those days, was still in the old North Riding. So you were allowed to, you would be able to see Yorkshire cricket games there. Not many, but one or two. And I went to one particular do one night. There was a cricket club do for, sadly, he's no longer with us, David Bairstow, Johnny's father. And he had his do, and he had on the programme, he had Peter Parfitt. Those of you might remember Peter Parfitt was a good speaker, ex-Middlesex. He had a bit of gardening, cowdrey stories, you know. And then there was an ex-football chap. So I got up, did a little bit, and it went well. And I got a bit of confidence, and people asked me, would I do some more? And it went from there. So eventually, David Bairstow, Phil Carrick, and the other ones, and Martin Moxon took me around the county with dinners around there. So, and it just picked up then, it snowballed because not many people were doing voices. There were all speakers talking about their career, and there were comics doing gags, and I don't do gags, and I was just doing the voices, and it picked it up from there. I also worked in a hotel. My brother-in-law has a hotel, which had quite a name for itself in the area. And I used to work there as his maitre d', so to speak. So it was an opportunity there. And it got out, and eventually I voiceovers, radio, and then I got involved with the Radio 4's Dead Ringers. Alistair McGowan had decided to leave to do his own thing, and they wanted somebody on the team, so I got involved.
So you say that obviously around the sports club. Now let's get straight into the cricket. You must have some great memories of cricket players, but also some great voices you can give us tonight.
Yes.
To our audience.
Well, very sadly, my dear old King Henry Blofeld has decided to retire, which was very, very sad. And I was very adept, I thought, of, I loved Henry's voice because he had the most marvelous picture. He always pictured a scene, didn't he? If he was at Lord's, and here we are on this marvelous day, the crowd is bustling with enjoyment as the day begins. There's a bus going down the Wellington Lane end, which is rather strange because I'm looking in the opposite direction. But I mean, all these little, can you imagine saying, and over there's a couple of cranes I can see looking rather resplendent in their inactivity. I mean, what's all that? But yes, so, and of course, Henry, I did a couple of do's with Henry. And of course, I used to do quite a few with, going back a bit now, dear old Freddie Truman. Freddie was very good on the dinner circuit, and Freddie used to ring me up and say, now then, lad, I've got a couple of jobs for you. Very, very deep, you know. We've got a job over so-and-so. I want you and me on them. We'll have a good laugh and a bit of a fun night. So he was always good to work with. And the thing about Fred Truman was that he was always, he had the most wonderful anecdotes. He also was a very, very good gag teller. And he had a very good memory for any complicated gag. He would do it really well. And a lot of comics didn't like working with him. And cricketer, and he could literally do something on his own for about 2 or 3 hours. He was that good with Fred. But we used to have a bit of a laugh with him, you know. And he always used to say, he'd say odd things to me. I'd say, oh, I met Peter May once. He seemed a nice chap, Fred. Oh, he's a nice lad, Kevin. He's a nice lad, Peter May, but he knows nothing about cricket. You know, statements like that. And Dickie Bird, he's made more money than me, and he's only a bloody umpire. 307 test wickets I got. And look at the state of that. What it is unbelievable. Do you remember some of the sayings? Unbelievable. What is going off out there? I do not know. And then I'd say to Dickie Bird, oh, I met Fred. He was very confident. I don't think he likes me, Kev, you know. And he says I'm a bit tight. I couldn't get tighter than him. I mean, I went down to London to see that musical Cats, and I got very upset because I was crying all the way through it because it cost me about 150 quid a ticket. So, and I could have stayed at home and watched Cats out at window. That was Dickie. Always and that is quite true with some of these characters that they're very conscious of money. And I'll tell you a funny story. Once, it was when I was first working with Truman, Fred won, can you believe it, 6 cans of lager in this raffle. And it was only this cheap, awful lager. And I rang the chap up the next day to say to him, everything go well? Are you happy? He said, yes, it's very well. He said, I've had Fred on the phone. I said, oh, nice. He said he forgot those cans of lager and be calling round next week and he'll pick them up. Well, that's him. But of course, and then of course you've got Jeffrey. You can't escape from Jeffrey because Boycott. Sorry, he is the patron of the Yorkshire Air Ambulance now at the moment. I think that's probably helped him get his knighthood with Theresa May. But Jeff's he's a funny. If he rings when I'm with him, he never says. He goes, now then, what are you doing? I mean, he's full of himself. I mean, don't tell me. There's nothing better than a summer's day and me batting a perfect boundary. Fantastic. I mean, people say it was an honour to play for England, Marcus. They do, don't they? But I thought it was an honour for England to have me playing for them. That's how I viewed it. But no, I think there's nothing better than that. I mean, the Royal Mail, people say I take me cricket too far. And I understand where they're coming from. The Royal Mail called at my house once and put a note through my door to say I was out. Well, I rang them up straight away. I said, the name's Boycott and I'm never out. So don't give me all that rubbish. But he's very, very forthright. He's not at all backwards or coming forward, is he really? You know, but I always remember he was more than happy to be at the, he was president of Yorkshire in 2013, the bicentenary, and he was delighted about that. And I was chatting to him about that, and he said, well, you know, they say that 1863 was the most important year in the bicentenary of Yorkshire cricket. Well, load of rubbish. The most important day was the 21st of October, 1940. That was the day I was born. And I remember it well because I was 3 days not out. But, yeah, he's always full of cricket Tourette's. So we said to him, you must have cricket. Well, highest score 260 for Yorkshire, 108 test matches. Dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. But no, I'm delighted to bring in Jeffrey, and so there we are, and we can't escape David Lloyd, can we? No, Lancashire, marvellous man, different accent. The round there are in Lancashire. Accrington, people always say Bolton. I used to get him mixed up with Fred Dibner. Do you remember Fred Dibner? Here we are, standing in the middle of this great big engine. And I used to always get him mixed up with him. But no, David Lloyd is another one I used to like doing. But it's unbelievable, isn't it? Unbelievable when you talk about our cricket. There's the England cricket team struggling today with a cricket match. And all we needed was a roll of sellotape and a bit of grit when we were playing the Australians. You could have gone to home base or something like that. But no, we're doing well as a side. The team's doing really well. I'm delighted. I mean, we talk about the game now. I mean, Broad is doing well. Archer, Joffrey Archer, nice lad. runs in faster than he bowls, you know, he's always in danger of overtaking the ball in the follow through. So so there you are. So and yes, so you're constantly having to think of new ones.
And you mentioned in your
just have a bit of what? Sorry, Marcus. Sorry.
No. I'm going to carry on the theme. As you mentioned, you talked about the rugby club, and I want to go back to that.
Yes.
You talked about the Andrew boys. Now, obviously, where I live, I'm very close to the rugby around here. So, out of the exposure you've had to rugby, who are the people that have influenced your career in impressions and over the years?
Yes, well, you've got to go back to when I was a youngster, and I thought Mike Yarwood was wonderful. I used to watch him because I used to do family and school teachers and clergy at church and things, take the mickey out of them, and then watching Mike Yarwood, I thought, oh yes, he's doing Bruce Forsyth and things like that, and I used to think that was marvelous. You know, nice to see all that type of thing. Wonderful, really a wonderful man. And here's Ted Heath, didn't he? So I'd be doing things like that. I was only about 8 or 10 or something. But yes, Mike Yarwood. And I've been lucky. I've done things with Rory Bremner, and Rory's a smashing person, absolutely delightful person to. He's very generous, and of course he's a brilliant mimic. Alistair McGowan is very good. Alistair's from Pershore, I think. That's in Worcestershire, isn't it? And of course I've been working with John Culshaw on the radio. Although Dead Ringers had a good run on TV, and then it was on the radio for a long while, and then it had it went away because we're all doing all sorts of different things, and it's returned again, and not regularly, but it's on again. And Jan Ravens, who was absolutely marvelous with hers, and John, and they're doing the show again now, every now and then on the radio. So it's excellent stuff.
And apart from cricket impressionists, give me a few of the different sports impressionists that you love doing when you go to dinners and you're face to face with people.
Yeah. Well, obviously, of course, you used to do the Bill McLarens of the world, but of course, Bill's gone now. You know, you can't really do those old ones. And but no, the one I like doing at the moment is Brian Moore, because Brian is a very a great figure, a wonderful, committed rugby player. But he's very opinionated, probably because he's from Yorkshire. But he always has the most odd things to say. Sometimes you think you say, what did he said once? I think that the problem with Eddie Jones is that he is his own, will not listen to anybody. It's rather like an old Chinese proverb: don't get angry with an elephant just because he can't play backgammon. Instead, so what does that mean, Brian? Well, instead you say to the elephant, hide the board in your trunk, and then no one knows that you own a set. Right, okay. So there's an Eddie Jones is very he's very sort of his own person. He's I'm a very humble man. I'm the humblest man I've ever met. So I don't need to listen to anyone. If I want to have my favourites around me, you know, Farrell and these types, I'll do it my own way. That's what he's very like.
Everybody loves Eddie Jones, of course, don't they? Now, I've got one question which I'm going to pick up on straight away that's come in. Obviously, we've seen a lot of politicians on TV over the last 12 months, obvious reasons. And other than Boris today, politicians don't seem to be as interesting. Is that harder for you? And what politicians have you loved sharing the, you know, the kind of...
Well, that's Thank you, Marcus, and thank you for that gentleman's question, because that is very good, because obviously Boris, leave Boris for a minute, but the characters like William of Garn, and you go back to the ones that, like John Major. I think there are two things make a good Prime Minister. First of all, ability. Secondly, determination. And thirdly, a very good head for figures. I think those are the four things that make the two things relevant to what I'm saying. So we've got that. And what Brexit means, what it means. And what it means is what it means. But I don't want to go any further than that. So that was John Major. There's another character gone. And of course, we had our sainted Prime Minister, Tony, because Tony was very, had an awful lot of mannerisms that were easy to do. And, people say to me, do I believe in a Messiah? Do I believe in a man who brings happiness to the faces of young and old alike? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am that Messiah. And I mean, I used to do Andrew Neil on the TV and on the radio. Now, hold on, Andrew, remember Andrew Neil, who's going to be starting his new thing. Mr. Blair, may I ask you this question? You still believe we have made the mistake in leaving the EU? Well, first of all, I'm not saying that we should stay in the EU, of course, and I'm not saying we will definitely leave the EU. I'm not saying the minority should have the casting vote. And I'm not saying the majority should be ignored. What I'm actually saying is, well, nothing really, just rabbiting on. So you had, tone there. And of course, when Andrew Neil had his lovely program this week, do you remember Michael? My Bradshaw, of course, Michael Portillo. Of course, I can't imagine me being Prime Minister dressed in my yellow trousers and brown jacket, looking rather like I've had an accident in a paint factory. But he's reinvented himself, and he seems to be doing very well. And of course, we ought to wait for Andrew to come on. So yes, there was the remember, and of course, Ken Clark. There's one I used to do. Most marvelous character. I was very much against the people who said that we should never go into the euro. I think we should go into the euro if the financial climate is right. And if the financial climate is wrong, then we shall have to judge what to do at the time. So the answer isn't yes or no, or even maybe. So I can't put it any clearer than that. So that was, that's Ken Clark. Nigel, don't forget Nigel. I haven't gone away. What I like about doing Nigel Farage is when he's being interviewed, people ask him questions and he goes, "Do you know something? Do you know something?" People often say to me, and I say this, and I don't worry about these things. I worry about Keir Starmer actually, because to be quite honest, he's on about embryo hybrid research, which is exactly what he is. He's half the back end of a 1976 Ford Cortina and half human. But I don't wish to go down that route. He's done his own bit. It's up to him, and he can do what he likes. Okay, right now we'll try our friend Jacob, because Jacob's a bit of a friend. And you need a glass. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. First of all, I do what the church tells me, and people say derogatory things about me, but let me say I am the MP for the 18th century, although it is the 21st century, and I'm very concerned about the way people are having to be very careful about spending money. I've had to get rid of 2 maids, 2 butlers have gone, and but at least Somerset cricket is still there, and that is what I'm happy about.
Brilliant.
Right. And of course, I used to do, sorry, Marcus, I used to do David Dimbleby, didn't I? Yeah. Do you remember? Now, David Dimbleby, he always said, now, we've got somebody here who I'm going to speak to,
Whereabouts are you? Oh, there you are. Hold on. No. So, yeah, there was the politicians, all those politicians. Have I left anybody off the politicians? I can't remember.
Well, one question I've got.
Yes, sorry.
Take you across the Atlantic, those politicians, American politicians.
You know, when I was, do you remember Bill Clinton? I was president of the United States. By the way, let me say this. I did not have sex with that woman. Monica, yes, but Hillary, no. And, as you know, and I would just say this, you know, the last time I came to London and I was talking to Peter about Croydon Airport, and I landed at Heathrow, and as the plane descended, the pilot asked me to return the stewardesses to the upright position. And but at least we're changing, and I'm delighted I'm no longer with it. But you move it, and of course you had George Bush, who was there. There are people out there who think these things. As you know, we went into the Middle East because we wanted democracy for the Sunnis and the shares, and I got you, babe, and so it was important we did that. And so my fellow avian flus and mutants who were listening in, let's hope that goes well. But it goes on to Barack Obama. Do you remember Barack? Barack was, he always had a very slow start. It took his time. Did this, I did that. Because when I look back the 8 years, I was elected on a platform of change. Not just change for change's sake, but change that changes the way we look at change. Change that changes change. And in turn, changes change. But if we change and change back again, then we're all in danger of not changing at all. So I'll change here for London.
And of course, we can't forget me. I've gone. And as you know, things are changing. But, you know, I did a lot of good things, you know, when I was president of the United States of America. The war against Iraq is over. And we sorted that out. But it is important that we get these things right. And it is hard, but we're going to get it right. We're going to do the right thing for the country because it's important we get these things right. But that's another one gone. He's going to be back. I hope. Is he going to be back? I hope not.
He'll be back.
He'll be back. It'll be interesting. Can I ask you this question? John Middleton Taylor, I seem to recall seeing you at, I think he says, the Golden Lion doing Prince Charles serving on tables once. He doesn't know if that's quite right or not. A royal family? Is that something like you?
The Golden Lion? Well,
yeah.
Is he talking about up? Is he talking about up here?
Pontine.
Kingsborough.
Yeah. Well, well, actually, I use the
Osmotherley.
Osmotherley.
That's
yes.
right.
Pete. My brother owns and runs the Golden Lion in Osmotherley. There's a plug for him, and he's still running it. He's still running it. You're right. That's when I used to go in there, and God, it's so difficult trying to do the royal family because there's so many awful things happening. But we've just seen the most wonderful funeral last week. So it is. I used to do Prince Charles, and I'm trying to think of some of the things that I used to say. I always got a good man. Yes, so you must have been up in this direction. Well done. Who was that? Who said that? Was it Marcus?
John Middleton Taylor.
John Middleton. Thank you, John. You are totally and utterly correct, my love. Yes, as Bruce would say.
One serious question here. How long does it take you to do the voice of a new character?
Good question. The simple answer to that is
if a voice comes naturally, then and you don't work, then that's fine. But if sometimes a lot of voices don't work straight away, and I have to keep going back to them. I suppose it's a bit like writing a song. Although I don't write songs, there's nothing. There's a bit of a thing there, and I can't find the rest of the voices or the intonation. So yes, some come naturally, and some come can be quite difficult. I remember being able to do what's that? Edna Everett, you know. I remember you, destructive woman, and all that. And then there was a voice like Graham Norton. I couldn't get Graham Norton, but okay, suddenly you pick up on certain words that he uses. And so there you go. So some voices take a longer time and others don't. I don't know. And the reason I have to persevere is because I don't do anything else. I don't tell gags. I string it all together with the voices. People used to give me jokes and I can never remember them.
and a classic question, as Peter McBride has put it, who have you found the most difficult to impersonate over your years?
Over the years, well, I think politicians-wise, David Cameron, I found that quite difficult. I don't know why, it just didn't seem to register for me. And then other ones like going back, Neil Kinnock, for some reason I was able to do Neil Kinnock. The idea that the country has understood it is right and it is wrong, and it is also wrong and it is right. But at the same time, that was one I was able to do. I don't know why it just came and it happened, and then others didn't. Gordon Brown, yes. People say I was a people say I was a dour, brooding Scotsman. But let me tell you a joke. Two men walked into a bar and they were only able to afford the drinks they purchased because of 10 years of unparalleled economic growth sustained by me as a chancellor over a 10-year period. So that was Gordon Brown. And I think Trump's difficult. You've got to, Trump's a difficult one sometimes because people go, I don't know what he's doing. It's not like that really, is it? It's, I don't know. I've said to various people, we have to be honest about it. We're going to get it right. And we will. And Joe Biden sounds like some kind of, Joe sounds like a cowboy, doesn't he? Sounds like Walter Brennan in those, they went and shot my boy Billy in Tombstone like he was a dog. Yeah, Joe Biden, he's very slow. The vaccinations are taking their time. So Biden,
yes, Biden. Fiona has put a question in here. Who is your favorite person to impersonate among those currently in the public eye? So more recent.
Well, I've been having a go at doing Joe Root, actually, because Joe Root, the England cricket captain, is got a very light sort of a voice. No, we've done very well today, very quiet, looks very boyish, doesn't he? And I'm looking forward to going to Australia. Mum said I can go as long as I don't get homesick. And I promised to, to wear my thermal vest. I'll make sure of that. The good thing about me and Sam and Tom Curran, being in the England squad, is that we help to keep the rates down on the tour because we get child rates on the flights and free accommodation if you're accompanied by one or two adults. But yeah, I hope one day to grow a real beard like Moeen Ali. But he looks about 12, doesn't he?
It does, yeah.
Carrying on from this, Tim from Matlock 41 Club, is it hard to impersonate younger people? And who's the youngest person that you've ever impersonated?
Well, That's a very good question. Thank you for that. That is because you have to watch programs that you don't really identify with, because as I'm getting older, and you go to, fortunately, I've been doing voiceovers, so it's not really as I say, what they call them, Alan Carr. Oh God, no, it's not really a program that I'd watch, and I'm afraid that is becoming a problem, that you've got to like things, you've got to be interested in these programs and characters. Otherwise, I find it difficult to identify. And don't forget, you see, this is the problem. There are people coming through, young kids coming through, who are doing the contemporary stuff, which I mean, who knows? I mean, I do quite a bit of amateur dramatics as well, enabling me to diversify a bit. But it's hard. I mean, you can't go. You know, I can't go round doing bloody Rodney and Only Fools and Bloody Horses, can I? You know, Rodney and all that thing, you know, and as you say, look, imagine doing Victor Murder today to young kids. They have no idea. I mean, God, I'm in court tomorrow because I was walking around B&Q the other day, minding my own business, and suddenly this man in an orange jacket came towards me and asked me, "Do you want decking?" So I punched him. And so it's difficult. You know, or actors. You can't do Michael Caine because that's too old. Michael Douglas, of course. My father was in Spartacus. And, you know, where Kirk Douglas was a great, great Hollywood actor. So it's something I've got to come to terms with. And if you're watching TV and all day, I mean, I can get away with it. I've got some. The one thing is good now is football people. I'm looking for football people because I can do the. You can't do the John Motsons, can we? There's John Motson gone. By the way, nice to see everybody. It's been one of those days when I didn't think I would get there. But you've just got to move on. You've got to move on and see how far I can go. It happens to us all.
Yeah, I was going to say, because keeping relevant, and I say that obviously with the respect of your audience and reflecting the audience requirements today. I suppose one question I've got: do you actually train people as well?
No, no, I haven't. Nobody's asked me, to be quite honest. Nobody's asked me. But I mean, I can sing, you see. But people would say to me, singing voice again. If I listen to music, I will sing in the style of somebody. That not deliberately trying to sing like them, but I mean, if I was to sing, and somebody said to me like an Elton John song, Daniel is traveling tonight on a plane. I can see the red tail lights heading for Spain. So you know what I mean. You can do things like that if I have to. But yes. You know, we were mentioned Boris. Did I mention Boris? Have I done Boris?
But you said I'm going to come back to him.
Oh, sorry, we'll do that. Because it is important that we are now coming out of this particular difficult period in which we are involved in what we are doing. And where are we? It's nice to see you. It's nice to be anywhere. Where are we? Oh, here we are. Yeah. I need a mop on my head for that, don't I?
We're past that, Kevin. We've got well past that one. Have you ever used an impersonation to blag an upgrade or a table at a popular restaurant? Good one, Jim Conway. I like that one.
Have I ever done that? To be perfectly honest, not No, I haven't, Jim. Not because I didn't think it. I've never done that. No, I mean, John Culshaw told me he did that. He rang up as somebody. I forget who it was now. I mean, I've rung up as people, not asking for anything. I once rang as Kenneth Williams to discuss a particular situation. Would you be interested in me doing what I could do? You know, and that was very interesting. You know. Oh, I've been doing a what they call it, getting involved in a sort of little thing about Kenneth Williams locally, and because again, I'm going back a bit to the times when he used to be on Parkinson telling those stories. And you're going to have a tried. You're going to have a tried. But yes, we're doing something, and so I'll be doing some of those monologues of Kenneth Williams used to do on the radio. You know, going on my gander bag, you know, and rambling Sid Rampole. This is for the older generation, you know. Joe, he was the young cod wangler, munging Greeble's diddy go, and he loved a bogler's daughter by the name of Chiswick Flo. So there's all that. And of course, Alan Bennett.
Carry on films. I'm of that generation. I remember them.
Yeah. And of course, we've got I've got to do some others, you know, we've got doing some review things. So, you know, I've got to do Alan Bennett, haven't I? Mother, you know, she bit gracefully into her apple pie. And she asked inquisitively, "Where did you get these from?" "They're Mr. Kipling's," I replied. "Is he the new chap who runs the corner shop?" She innocently inquired. And I said, "No, Mother, she's not, but she's in Betty somewhere." But so there you are, just doing little review things and that type of stuff. But
what about, have you ever worked abroad? Obviously, it'd be a different type of...
The only places I've worked abroad, that's true, I have, but they were for British companies who were having seminars. I went to Nice once, although there was some Dutch people there. And I remember a Dutch person said to me, oh, this is going back when I went to Holland. Yes, went to Holland, went to Amsterdam. And there were a lot of, and I was doing football, Trevor Brooking and people like that. Certain Greaves, yeah, do you remember? Remember in St. John, talk about it, you know. Greaves, yeah. I believe that Scotland have solved their goalkeeping problem. They're going to play without one next week, and things like that. But I remember one Dutchman said to me, "I thought your Trevor Brooking was good," and I said, "Trevor Brooking? How did you know?" He said, "No, because they watch Match of the Day, in the English Match of the Day." So I was doing Trevor Brooking, you know, talking about the old game. Oh, old Trevor, West Ham. Ha! He played a very good game of football all the time, you know.
So
there must be some football managers that you can share with us tonight. And we know Mr.
Yes. Well, of course, I've retired. I've been sacked. Again, but it was difficult to accept. But let me tell you something. I said to the chairman, Mr. Levy, I said, I am the curator of the zoo. I am in charge of the monkey nuts. And I decide who gets the monkey nuts. Not the curator of the zoo, I am the zookeeper. And he didn't like that, so I left. But I'm stronger than Popeye without the spinach. I am cleverer than Einstein without the mathematic. And I would say I'm better than a quick fit fitter. Now, someone put Brian Clough up there?
Yeah.
Yes, they have. They have.
Brian Clough. I actually knew Brian's sisters. I know his sisters. They don't live far away because he came from Middlesbrough. But Brian was a very good man to do. We talk about the game. I always remember being interviewed. He said, Brian, so you got interviewed for the England team manager's job. I got interviewed for the England team manager's job
by a bloke called Thompson, Harold Thompson, professor in history. And that girl there behind the camera knew more about football than he did. And I took it as a bit of an insult. So, yeah, he was marvellous, wasn't he, Cloughie? So, yeah, you go back to the old one. I used to, Bobby Robson, you know, when I was with England, we had and PVC in Holland. I had a marvellous time with PVC. Fantastic club. We won the Spanish Championship the first year.
And Big Jack, I used to do Big Jack. I love Big Jack was great to work with because he used to stop and take his time and then he'd forget where he was.
Yeah.
I don't know. Was I there? But he never said anything.
So, yes, you had that. It's Steve Bruce up in Newcastle. You know, we're a good side. I'm at my dream club now, you know, Newcastle. My dream club before was Aston Villa. Fantastic, you know. But what I don't like about today's game, the crowd shout things at you, know, like you're putting on weight during the game now. And
I tell you what about McCarthy? I mean, I was in Ireland. I'm from Barnsley, the Irish manager. I'm now back at Cardiff. What a fantastic club. You can't pull the wool over my ass because I don't wear a hat. Simple as that. But
yeah, of course, we can't forget Harry. I actually thought Harry would be brought in at Tottenham. Fantastic, you know. Fantastic. Oh, I'm happy as Larry, you know, Marcus. Even though I'm not Harry, I'm Larry. You can't say happy as Harry. But yeah, fantastic, you know. You know, I was at Spurs. I remember being at Portsmouth, fantastic club. A really good club. Portsmouth, Southampton, fantastic clubs. Really, really good, you know. I mean, the chairman at Portsmouth said, we haven't got much money. I said, I know, but I know where it is. And and I wonder, oh, yes, is this okay?
Yeah, I was going to say, get a drink of water, absolutely wet the whistle, as
and
say.
Yeah, and Spurs fans will remember Glenn Hoddle. He was a great player. And yeah, I was a pundit on TV many years ago for the football and for the Euros. And I decided to go across to report on the Euros. And it was such a nice day. I got to Dover and walked across. So, yeah, so
I've got Kenny Dalglish. I've got they're coming through thick and fast.
Oh,
Kenny
right.
Dalglish.
Okay, Kenny. I never understand what he says. We play very well, but obviously, as Alan says, when we play the game, we're a good side. And the Super League, I don't know what the Super League is all about. I said to Alan Hansen about it. What did you think, Alan? Oh, it was a waste of time. What a joke. What a joke. What does he know about anything? I mean, it was outrageous. What was he always famous for saying? And Jürgen, you know, Klopp, he laughs all the time, and no, it was good. Yes, disappointing for this Super League. I think it was, you know, a non-starter, stupid. But I'm more interested in the game at the weekend. Do we play 4-4-2, 4-5-1, 1-2 buckle my shoe? I don't know. 3-4 knock at the door.
Can I take you on to a couple of different sports, just quickly, if I may? And someone's mentioned the great late Murray Walker.
Murray Walker, yes. Yes, I'll be quite honest. Yeah. I didn't really watch motor racing, obviously. Yeah. But yes, he used to shout all the time, didn't he? But these people were great, weren't they? Characters. It's like with the racing. What's his name? John Franken. Fantastic characters. No longer in the game. Reporting. Derek Thompson. Good to talk to you. Great stuff. Murray Walker. Yes. And now Peter Ellis is gone. Peter Ellis is gone. Very sad. Did you know Peter Ellis's father was? I did a job with Peter Ellis, and he told me that. It said born in Berlin on his biog in front. I said, "Were you born in Berlin?" He said, yes. He said his father was the golf professional at Wannsee Golf Club in Berlin before the war. And he was there from 1930 for 8 years. And of course, with the war looming, he came home. And he said that he'd coached a few of the entourage that became leaders of the German government in the Second World War, although they hadn't sort of become notorious in the early 30s. But he said he did. I think he said he'd given some lessons to Hermann Goering. But this was like 1931 or something, you know. But yes, so that was interesting to get to know that.
Peter McBride, I bet they were good in the bunkers. Oh, Peter, that's. I've got a couple more here, if you're okay to take. I've got William McLeod. Actually, a serious question. Do you think your art is dying out? There doesn't seem to be the same opportunities nowadays to see guys like you on TV and with your art and with your talent.
Yes, that's a nice question. Thank you. I think for me, because as I touched on before, we're coming to I'm heading towards 60. Therefore, the things that interest me I'm becoming detached from the younger kids. At the moment, they are on the radio again. The Dead Ringers is back on the radio again, although not at the moment. It will come on again. But it will come back. There's a young kids out there who are watching all these, the soap operas or whatever, and it will come back. They'll just go. A program will come on before long, and they probably won't ask me because, again, I'm trying to think of programs on the television. I mean, that I don't really identify with because of it's an ageist thing, isn't it? Yeah. I'm afraid.
So I'm going to ask for a couple of voices myself. Now, I'm a Welshman, and you know what? We like to hear the tunes or sounds of lyrics of home. And any Welshmen in your locker room that you've managed to cover the years?
I'm very sorry, Marcus. No.
Well, you're as good as me then.
Not,
that's all I can say.
Oh, sorry, Marcus. Sorry. Again, going back a bit now. Tony Lewis. Do you remember Tony Lewis? Cricket. Tony Lewis cricket. BBC cricket. He used to be on the TV for many years. But Tony was from Wales. Sorry, there's a Welsh accent. But you see, I don't look for the Welsh accent. I just do it as it sounds. Like when I said Neil Kinnock, I don't think of Neil as a Welsh accent. I do it as it sounds to me. And so Tony Lewis always used to come on BBC Cricket. It's a lovely day here, marvellous day. Thank you very much indeed for being here. And the highlights on BBC Two tonight at 10 o'clock. So there you go.
Brilliant. And who would you like, I have two questions, but who would you like to finish off with tonight as one of your favourite impressionists?
Well, what about, since it is St. George's Day tomorrow, what about a little bit from Henry V? It's St. George's Day tomorrow, isn't it? Well, I could do it as Ian McKellen, but he's so laid back, it doesn't really work very well, does it? Because my father was on the Belt and Telegraph. Once more and unto the breach, dear friends, once more, or close the wall up with English dead. The game's afoot, follow your spirit, and upon this charge cry, God for Harry, England and St. George.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I'm going to let you have the last say because I asked you this question earlier and someone in our audience asked the same question. I'd like you to tell the story of the picture behind you.
Oh, the picture behind me. Yes, the picture behind me was donated by Brian Sewell for me.
No, the picture behind me, this is the only place in the room I can sit properly. It happens to be a picture of my grandfather in his Green Howard's uniform, which when he served in the First World War, which he survived and died in 1970, fortunately. Although he had shrapnel wounds like lots of people and walked with a limp, he managed to survive to 1970. But that's just him with his Green Howard's uniform on.
No, I thought it was a lovely story what you told me earlier, and I thought what a lovely way to finish this evening on a very personal note.
Great. Thank you very much, Marcus, for everybody.
What we're going to do, we're going to go. We're going to go to the vote of thanks, which we've got lined up with Roger. Don't disappear, because we have a traditional way of thanking our guests. And as I hand over to Roger, I just want to say to the audience tonight, really hope that you've enjoyed it. You've enjoyed the last 12 months with Connects. It is the AGM this week, and please attend. And I'm sure you've all got positive stories to tell about watching Connects over the 12 months. Roger, over to you, my friend.
Marcus, thanks very much. And first of all, I want to thank the audience. It's a bit of a watershed in Connects. We've been doing it for 12 months. It's the AGM this weekend. I want to thank you all for attending. I want to thank you for your questions tonight. Very, very much appreciated. And what I could see and what Kevin couldn't, because I can flick through you all, is how much you all enjoyed it. And I think that's really testament to what a great evening we had.
Thank you.
This is, but now going on to the point of the vote of thanks, which is to thank Kevin for what was a great evening. A thoroughly great tour, I think, through his life, through a lot of characters we saw. And to pick up on the Yorkshire theme, what great value for money we had. For a man who said he doesn't do gags, there were plenty of gags in there. But we went through the characters from sport and politics and entertainment via royalty and ended up at Shakespeare. I mean, what more could we ask for? What great value for money. We had great gags, great impressions. And the true testament of Kevin's skill was he impersonated three Scotsmen, and I could tell the difference between them. I can't even do that in real life. and he also did an impersonation of the only Welshman that Marcus Jones doesn't know. Now that takes some doing, I'll tell you. So, and the greatest testament of the value for money of this is when we were looking for the justification for 41 Club Connect, and they say, who do you have on? Who have you had on? Well, the list has just got endless, hasn't it? From, Murray Walker to Prince Charles to, everybody in between. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. I know you thoroughly enjoyed it. Kevin, thank you very much. And can you all thank Kevin in the usual way? Thank you very much.
Lovely.
Kevin.
Thank you. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
And what's really nice tonight, Kevin, is that over 200 people have been listening to you, and you've made a real difference tonight.
Wow, thank you.
How's that?
Well, thank you very much indeed. I've only done a couple of these, so I'm just, it's difficult trying to know. Normally you do your act and you can't do it. It doesn't work on these things, but thank you once again.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Kevin.
And we've got everybody off mute now, so everybody can just chuck in their voices and whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Thank you,
well
Kevin.
done. Well done, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you.
Yes, I thought it must have been difficult for Kevin because a comedian relies on feedback and laughter, and of course, with us all muted, that wasn't very possible, was it?
I didn't do Roy Hodgson.
The worrying thing is, Kevin, is it normal not to get laughs when you do a stand-up show? I thought you were absolutely brilliant. Really.
Well, I didn't do Roy Hodgson for Peter, did I? I'm very sorry about that, Peter.
That's okay. You get paid now, Kevin. That's good.
Well, can I just say as Roy Hodgson that many people think I don't have much of a pedigree in the game, but I have played some very important ground. And I've experienced World Cup finals, and that's not easy to achieve on an Xbox 360.
Yeah.
Hey, don't knock it. That's how Crystal Palace win all their trophies.
Yeah. I don't know whether I did Alex Ferguson. He's another Scotsman you can't understand the way he says. Alex.
Brilliant indeed. We great part of the night that we everybody's faces and we can actually everybody just talk those noise out there. Oh, quiet now.
Oh, listen to you, Marcus.
Listen, you've listened to my dulcet tones once. You don't need any more.
I don't know whether I've missed anybody off. Did I?
Oh, no. Okay.
That's good. I'm glad everybody enjoyed it this evening. It's really good.
Yeah, brilliant.
If you haven't registered,
Hi, Jeff.
if this Saturday's National AGM, make sure you do.
I'll just check the test order again, just to make sure I'm not taking anything off that you've.
I don't know.
I'll just sign out.
Thanks, guys.
Can I just welcome the many members of the iPad family this evening? We always have a little laugh to see how many of our iPad families.
There you go.
See Stuart's iPad, Keith's iPad, Lesmar's iPad. So welcome all the iPad family anyway.
Hope the social distance.
Yeah. Mr. and Mrs. iPad must have been very busy many years ago.
It'll say his name.
Poor Bill.
It's a new Smith.
You're going to give lessons next time for how to rename yourself on Zoom.
That's funny, that, isn't it?
I think Kevin did very well there tonight because he was having to change the age range of the people who appreciate what he was saying.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's very easy, and sometimes it's very difficult. But it's a problem. It's no problem.
Yeah, you don't need to remind me. When I asked you to deliver that yucca plant, I didn't say put it in the bloody toilet, girl. Mike Burton's gone. Was that rugby, Mike?
Gone for Burton.
Lee Harvey Wasbold.
And bananas and apple sticks and milk, 1 loaf of white bread. Here's
Evans.
Yes, iPad.
Can you do Bill McLaren again, please?
Bill McLaren, of course, you could cut the tension here with a knife, I can tell you.
Like a baggy up a burn.
Hey, what was he say? He's got arms and leggies like an octopus behind that scrum, I can tell you.
Brilliant.
Hey, Bill McLaren, my goodness me.
I'd just like to thank you, Kevin, for not remembering any Welshman to do accents. That's brilliant. Marcus is going to hear about that so many times. I'll tell you.
Well, the chap who wrote Delilah died yesterday, didn't he?
Did he?
My.
Yeah, he did. He died yesterday. So I saw the light on the night as you passed by.
Tom Jones.
That's just like his.
No.
There's another career for you, Kevin the singer.
Oh, yes. I could get a job as a singer, that's right.
Do you still do the radio dead ringers now, Kevin?
Well, no, I don't. It doesn't come back regularly, but at the present time, they've got John Jan, two very good mimics called Lewis MacLeod,
Yeah.
who is Scottish, and Dominic Damien. Oh crikey, I've forgotten his name. But they're all available.
That's
so.
very good. I mean, I'm an avid listener because they alternate. Do sort of 6 weeks Dead Ringers, 6 weeks new show.
But it had a break for a while, and then we were doing other things. I was with Phil Cornwell and Mark Perry. We used to do it together, the five of us. But Lewis MacLeod and Dominic. I don't know him. I don't know Lewis, but they're both very good, and they're on there now. And John, but we'll just see, really, to see what happens.
I find it's very topical as well, because the good thing is, every week seems very relevant. I mean, I don't know how far ahead they're recorded, but they seem.
Well, I'll tell you how it's done, Peter. It's done. The script writers have it all done Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, with ready for an opportunity to, if something breaking news. We rehearse it on a Thursday with the reading rooms, and then we rehearse it during the day on a Thursday. It's recorded on Thursday night in front of a live audience on a Thursday night. Friday, the producer Bill Dare, he edits it, organizes it on a Friday, and then he puts the program out on a Friday night and a Saturday afternoon.
All right. Okay.
So it is done to the life. And of course, the script writers are there all the time. If anything happens or a story doesn't work out and it's changed, then they'll write it out during the day. But on a Thursday, as late as Thursday. And if, for instance, the story doesn't make sense because the story has gone away, it's been solved on Thursday night, they'll just pull it. What we do is, as well, there's another thing. You record about an hour and a half's material in front of a live audience, about an hour and a half. And then the next day, the Friday, the editor, Bill Dare, will narrow it down to half an hour.
Sorry to interrupt you. You've gone very dark, Kevin. I don't know where you got a light out.
Oh, I have.
I mean, I know you're still there. I can hear you.
Yeah, obviously Rodney has turned the damn thing off.
Another shilling in the meter.
I'll put the light on. I'll put the light on, eh?
There you go.
Hey.
Well, you see, I ran a boarding house for many years, you know. Hey, we're all the same.
We're all the same, Rigsby, you know. We're all the same. We're all 80% water.
80% water with ooze all over the floor. God, Struth. I mean, what are you talking?
I used to, they were good ones. I mean, do you remember the Likely Lads? I used to like the Likely Lads.
Yeah.
It's not funny, Terry. Thelma's very upset. Oh, come off it, Bob. Bob Ferris, you and your middle-class values. You've got it all wrong. Hey, we used to love all those.
Yorkshireman, Kevin.
Pardon?
Rodney Bewes was another Yorkshireman, wasn't he?
He was, wasn't he? Yeah. That's right. He was. I think they wanted somebody who could do an accent that could be seen as a little bit posher, instead of talking like, you know what I mean, like, and because he was, what was his name, James Booth. He was from Sunderland, I think.
James Bolam.
And James Bolam, thank you very much. Don't tell me about it, Bob. I've told you all about it. Thelma knows. Thelma's upset. And he used to come in, didn't he? Bob, you're quite right. Being from Bingley, I don't talk like that. It's not funny, Terry. Thelma's very upset. That used to be funny, that.
But are you looking forward to obviously getting back out there like we are with the dinners?
Well, yes, I am, and hopefully, I mean, it's an opportunity to sit and write get new things going, but it's a very difficult time for everybody because we really, although it's going well at the moment, it seems that you don't know whether or not it's are we going to have live venues? Because are people going to want to go into rooms with other people? I don't know, and sit around. It's a very difficult one. But I mean, it was difficult trying to get them all together at the funeral last week. Nobody seemed to want to talk.
Kevin Bridges.
Oh, I don't really do actual comedy. Kevin's a touch like that. He's very, very Glasgow, isn't he? He's got a funny walk, isn't he? And he walks like that when he comes on stage. It's like what they call that? Liverpool, John Bishop.
John Bishop, yeah.
Crikey, I can't understand a word he says. There was talking to a couple of people the other day, and they were saying about a chat show I've got on the TV. We talk about things, and you think, what the? I don't. It's a rather odd Liverpool accent, don't you think? I don't.
Very strong. Very strong.
Well, I mean, I know lots of people from Liverpool. And, great, talking great. Oh, you're all right, Kev, smashing. I can understand that because they're talking, But this sort of thing is just something wrong with it. But basically, yeah, doing very well today. Good side. Who was the other one? Harry Kane. They've just got short tongues. That's all they've got.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's nothing, but Peter used to talk like that, didn't he? Oh, dear me.
Do you find yourself suffering from schizophrenia, Kevin?
No, because I said to Julie, my partner, if you spent your time doing voices all the time at people, you'd go mad yourself. And also people and friends would go, they'd say, oh, shut up. You're not performing. I only actually ever do the voices on stage or when I'm performing. And if I'm in a restaurant and I recognize somebody, I might go over to somebody and say something to them, in a restaurant to go, yes, Sybil, look, I'm doing it. What is the point in telling me to do something that I'm already going to bloody well do? So yes, you've got it. I mean,
you can turn it on and off. Then that's good.
Oh, definitely, yes. Because you'd be a bit of a nuisance. The one person that I read about, and you probably might know, Peter Sellers. He must have been nuts.
Yeah.
He used to do characters in films, not necessarily, and he'd come home from the set, stay in character in the house with his wife. Because if I come out of character, I'll lose it for the next day. Now, come on, you are being nuts, and I think that's why I had so many wives. I think I had about 5.
That's interesting, Kevin, because again, I'll just kind of follow on that. Peter Sellers has said to himself that at parties, he was very boring, very dull, because he was always listening to other people. And he said, if you were talking to somebody, you said, really, tell me more about that. And he said, I was really boring because all I wanted to do was to hear how people said. And I think perhaps that's a bit more involved in it, perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah, right. That's true. I mean, yes, I can do people, obviously. There's some, because as I worked in the restaurant business as a sort of maitre d', and all the customers came through the door, I used to do them take a lot of them off. Got on very well doing them, and but I just feel that sometimes you could
I've sat with a couple of mimics, and they can't stop doing voices all the time. And you've got to be careful because you could go nuts. I mean, I did sitting in a cafe the other day. Some people went by, and I started shouting at them as Victor Meldrew sort of thing. And everybody around who didn't know who it was started, "Hey, that sounds like Victor Meldrew. What you doing?" And then it sort of had a bit of a laugh with them. But yeah,
that's good.
I think you drive people mad.
Yeah, you'd lose all your friends, Kevin, wouldn't you? After a while.
Well, I've got 5 brothers, and they've seen it all growing up, and they say, "Oh, for God's sake, he's off again," you know. So you do learn to call time and not be too much of a nuisance. So
yeah, that's cool
in that sense.
But hopefully we haven't been much of a nuisance to you tonight.
No. God. Yes.
Well, thank you for your time this evening. I really appreciate it. And
yeah, as I say, I'm pleased it's gone well, because I've done 1 or 2 of these things, and they're quite difficult to actually work out how to approach it, because you can't do your act and do them in sections and keep it going. And then I've broken things up and think, "Oh, crikey, I've missed that bit out."
Yeah.
So
it went very well, and as
I
think Roger said, whilst you couldn't hear people, you could certainly see people, and they were rolling around listening to it, and that's great. And thank you personally for doing Roy Hodgson. You know, it's
well, no, that's I'm delighted, Peter, for that, because Roy's done very well as a character to do, and you know. I'm very concerned about next season. People have said to me, you know, what will I be doing? Will I be still? I know where I'll be next season. I'll be watching Crystal Palace, but I'll be watching it from home.
That's it. I've just approved the payment. That's no worries.
Poor old Ron. It's fascinating to see he's still in the game.
Yeah, what passion, enthusiasm. Yeah.
And he's such an intelligent man, isn't he?
Yeah, he sticks out like a sore thumb right now. Eh?
Oh, I know.
He can speak about 5 languages, I think.
Does he? Oh,
yeah,
right.
Yeah, because he's managed, you know, in Europe quite a lot, you know, different countries.
That's why
I mean, you get a lot of play when you see some of these guys on the as pundits. Yeah. Them's players out there haven't done very well today, and they all talk in the past tense, don't they? Past tense, you know. He's went out like he's went out and he's came in. He's cames in. Oh dear me, how embarrassing. Yeah, it's like David Beckham when he says things. Yeah, I've done very well. You know, delighted to be still in the game. And I was talking to Victoria the other day, and you know, I mean, I played in Milan, and I've played in Manchester United. I've played all over the world, and I wanted to play for in the Bundesliga, and I signed for Paris Saint-Germain, and I don't know what happened.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
Gary Lineker. Can you do Gary Lineker?
Not really, no. Gary's he's got a very nondescript voice, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know, very, very quiet. I mean, he's always moving.
Very hands.
Yeah, it's right. Well done, he does. I have to say that, you know, but yeah, he's. I mean, I was looking at Peter's there. You look like you were in a darts competition with the boards behind you. There.
Yeah.
There you
go.
That's the old badger.
Oh, Marcus, you're still there. My dear old thing. No, I always sometimes, if I'm not careful, if I do Henry Blofeld, my dear old thing, I can end up going a little notch down and I'll sound like Keith Floyd. Do you remember Keith Floyd?
Yeah.
And now for a cooking sketch, Clive. A marvellous opportunity. First of all, let's get some cumin. Come on, Clive, show the camera down here. A bit of cumin, a bit of shallots, a bit of mustard. Grain mustard would be better. So in it goes, and there we are, and a little glass.
Spot on.
Yeah.
So you had a good time with the Amanda Owens the other day, did you?
Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
Isn't she remarkable?
Yeah.
What a... I was going to say, did anybody, I presume they must have asked the question, how on earth are they able to run that farm and at the same time be hands-on with children and all the animals, and how do you, they must be so organized, sure. You know.
Because the elder children are getting to be able to help. They've got
That's
more
true.
hands.
Yeah, I suppose that's right, the older ones, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Well, her husband looked a bit tired. I suppose she does all the work.
Right. Yeah. Hi, Clive, when you used to go on a bit, I'll roll sheep out at the top. Hi. Hi. Amanda, you look after, I'll move sheep out at the field at the top of the corner, and you tell kids to get out. Reuben, get off that tractor.
Brilliant.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah.
But I think everyone seems to be enjoying these programs outdoors, aren't they? Because they're us all locked down.
I think reality has become very interesting, I think, seeing how other people are living their lives.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but I've never been on a train since December 2019. So 15, 16 months, never been on a train. And there's something, from my point of view, I was thinking if someone was to organise a do in London, for example, because I can jump on the train, I don't know whether I'd be happy. You have to put a mask on, wouldn't you? And although I've had a jab, so I'm okay. But yeah, I don't know. It's changed us all.
Indeed.
It's changed us all.
Well,
I never forget a face, but in your case, I'll make an exception.
Well, that's the other. Actually, you remind me. There's another question I was going to put to you. Do you find you're expected to, when you're not doing your act, do you find you're expected to make people laugh? I know you're not a comedian as such, but
no,
we know a lot of comedians who had very sad lives because they were always looking for perfection. That sort of thing.
That's true. I mean, amongst people who know me, yes, people do know me. They will, hopefully, if I'm going into a restaurant or a bar locally or in the towns, the people know me and they say, hey, there's Kevin, I'll come across. Obviously, people who don't know me, but I don't really go into a place where and announce myself, or by doing somebody really know. I think you're a bit of a big head then. But you're quite right. I mean, before I performed on stage, before I went to be a performer, I used to mess about, you see. So I was comfortable at messing about in front of people as opposed to wanting to be a performer. I didn't really, I never, that's another question I should have come and discussed. I never actually, for 1 minute, ever saw myself being on the stage. And it just never occurred to me because there's no theatrical background of any nature in the family. Nothing. Nothing whatsoever. So I never aspired to. It happened literally by accident going along to these do's, and Kevin does a few voices, get up and do a few, and it went well, and then it just developed from there. And then people ringing up saying, I heard you at such a do, would you come across here and do it here? Well, I'm not too sure. You're all right in front of your own crowd, your own people.
And that's really how it happened. Because you read about, I mean, I met some comics and read about comics who look at Frankie Howard. Why on earth would he want to do it? Completely morose and miserable. I must be quite honest, I get nervous before I get on. But if I found that I was so nervous and so frightened that I was drinking, or sorry about that, Peter, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. Honestly, I wouldn't. I couldn't get myself all worked up. I remember I had some bad twos to start with. I remember doing one in Bradford at the hotel. It was a boxing do. It was a boxing do, and I agreed to do it. Why? I don't know. And I had to get in the damn ring, and you didn't know which way to turn. And in the end, all these pies and things came flying into the ring because all they were interested in was the boxing. And I remember getting out of the ring, and as I came down, and I didn't last 5 minutes, and I said something like, "Well, I think I'm wasting your time and you're wasting mine. So thanks very much. Let's go on with the boxing." And I came out the ring, and this guy, Mr. Local Bloke, said, "Hey mate, what made you get in fucking ring?" I said, "I don't know, I must be mad." He said, "Bloody hell, I could have told you before you climbed up through rope."